I'm State Representative Gene Wu. I represent Southwest Houston. I'm proud to be a Texan. I'm proud to be an immigrant. I'm especially proud to be an Asian American. It's because of this that I'm here today to provide a dire warning to the Asian American community and to all immigrant communities. The AAPI community has always had to deal with racism and xenophobia. This is not new. But now Republicans are turning up the temperature, and the rise of anti-Asian sentiment among the Republican far right is now the single greatest threat to the continued existence of our communities in over 100 years. In the past, I've tried to warn my community about Republican ideas that target others, Islamic-phobic laws and the Muslim ban, laws that spread anti-Latino hate, and countless other laws that target the LGBTQ community and the African American community. But there were people in our community that turned away. They said, we're not Muslim or Latino or black or gay, and it wasn't our problem. I warned them that one day it would be our turn. And now the Asian American community is being directly targeted by Republicans. While our community has always dealt with some level of racism, these attacks have intensified since 2016 and Trump. It has gone into high gear since COVID-19. Attacks on the AAPI community have been increasing across the United States, and Texas ranks fourth in the nation in the number of anti-Asian hate incidents. Texas alone is home to more than 20% of all physical assaults, hate crimes against our community. Texas Republican leaders have only added to the hate and violence. When we ask them to not use harmful rhetoric like the Kung flu and the China virus, explaining that those words spread hate and violence into our communities, they laughed at us. This is because they are no longer ashamed of the dark thoughts that they used to hide. Trump has emboldened them and told them that their racist ideas are right. We saw this new emboldened Republican Party last year when they pushed SB 147 and other anti-Asian and anti-immigrant laws. They wanted laws that said immigrants fleeing China, fleeing Iran, and fleeing North Korea would not be allowed to purchase land to farm, a business to run, or even a home for their families to live in. We tried to explain that Texas shouldn't label entire communities as threats without any evidence. They ignored us. We tried to explain that this law would catch even United States citizens. Their people said, good. We tried to tell them that the law was unjust and it would target our community for discrimination and violence. They laughed. But SB 147 is not what I'm afraid of. Because just like 100 years ago, when they passed the exact same laws, the exact same alien land laws against our communities, it never ends at land. The same ideas, the same rhetoric, the same arguments have come back out. 80 years ago, our nation looked at Japanese Americans and said the same thing about them that Republican extremists are now saying about Chinese Americans, Iranian Americans, and Korean Americans. Back then, our government rounded up 120,000 Japanese Americans, more than 66% of whom were American-born citizens. And they forcibly put them into concentration camps at the end of a rifle. I'm here today because it never ends at just land. It only ends when men point guns at our families and demand that they get into the train car. Trump has promised to round up migrants on day one. Republican extremists have promised to round up other minority communities. It is not hard to imagine that Chinese, Korean, and Iranian Americans could easily be added to that list. But this does not have to be our community's fate again. Take a lesson from SB 147. We beat that bill by mobilizing our community and using our voices. We have to do the same this year. The Asian American community must be able to send a clear message that we will not tolerate being attacked. We must vote, and we must vote against the people pushing the laws that attack our communities. We must send a clear message that our communities can and will be the margin that changes elections. And most importantly, we want to send a clear message